Thanks, Adam. It's NASCAR Fast Friday presented by Aleve. And we are ready for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series knockout qualifying. Well, the morning started off pretty dreary and cloudy. Couldn't see those mountains at all this morning, but it is now 70 degrees. There is a light breeze from the southwest to push that haze over the mountain. And it is beautifully sunny as we get ready to qualify. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Mike, if there's one guy who's always fast at the Auto Club Speedway, it's five-time winner here, Jimmie Johnson. And some racetracks show wear, some racetracks are temperature sensitive. Which one here stands out the most to you?
Yeah, we're talking about that. I'm not really sure what to expect. I feel like temps are coming down, so grip level is going to come back and be much closer to the way we started practice. We kind of missed the hot window. I think the Nationwide Series had to deal with that and fighting some track conditions there and balance issues. So I'm hopeful things cool down and it gets right back to the way the track started when we were on top. So I think we've got a very strong Lowe's Chevrolet, and by the way, spring is calling. So hopefully this car can show that.
Absolutely, and it's all over the car in case you missed it. Chris Devoto?
Not only is spring calling, speed is calling here at this racetrack with Austin Dillon. So every week we're not really sure what we're going to expect in this qualifying session. We know temperature will play a factor. What are you expecting in this qualifying session for your car?
Well, I don't know. I mean, for me, I feel like the first lap's obviously going to be your best. The question is the next two sessions. If you get into those, what's it going to take to run a fast lap on those? How do you adjust your car? Because we've got a little bit of adjustment we can make. But Cheerio Chevrolet was pretty fast. We started pretty far out to lunch in practice and brought it back in and had some good runs at the end of practice. So hopefully we'll be able to run a solid first lap so that can kind of tell us where we need to be for our next two, whether it's moving around on the track to keep the tires cool, and it'll be some strategy I'm sure going on. But it's nice and sunny out here in California. I got my police eyewear on and just hanging out.
All right, thanks, Austin.
Thanks, Krista, and hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip getting ready to do a little California steaming. It's getting a little warm up here. I guess the one thing I'd like to know is, have you talked to anybody who's planning to run more than one fast lap at a time?
No, I really haven't, and there's a perfectly good reason for that. We saw in practice, Jimmie Johnson went out, and the first lap he laid down was track record speed. And that's what we're going to see in this qualifying session. You want to time it out. You want to get down there, and when it's clear, you want to go, and you want to get that one lap in. You want to do one only, bring that thing on pit road and wait and see if you're going to be in the top 24 or not. If you are, you move on. You run one more lap, and then maybe you'll have the pole.
So it's 3 rounds of knockout qualifying. The first will set the field. We have 43 cars for 43 spots. That's not a problem. But to make it to 24th to transfer to the second round, and then to make it to 12th to transfer to the final round, that's the issue.
Yeah, and you're going to do it with a car that's going to continue to lose its drivability because, to Darrell's point, the tires are going to lose a lot of grip. I think it's going to be a lot of cat and mouse game in this first session because we know this track is going to start cooling down. You don't want to wait too late because the last thing you want is somebody in your way at that one shot you get.
Ready for knockout qualifying at Auto Club Speedway. Welcome back to Southern California, where we're ready to qualify for Sunday's Auto Club 400. Track record, 38.24 seconds, 188.2 miles an hour. 2 drivers were faster than the track record in practice earlier today. Krista?
Well, it's really a twofold strategy. Number one, with Greg Biffle, how do you get your car to make the fastest lap possible? And then do you have enough time to, how do you cool it off to keep yourself in the game? But I guess obviously the first problem is getting to that next session.
Yeah, can I let you know in about an hour?
Yes, you can, please.
I'll let you know exactly how it works. You know, our Aerospace 3 and Ford Fusion, pretty good car. We have 1 lap speed fairly well. Our second time out looked okay. We really don't know, you know, the longer we wait, the cooler it's going to get. But then the hotter the tires are going to be if we make the second session. So we really don't know what we're going to do. We're going to wait it out here a little bit, try and get a good lap, get it cooled back down and get ready. Hopefully we make the top 24. We can try it again. We were 12th in practice. We feel like we have around top 10 car speed, so we'll have to wait and see.
Thanks, Greg. Matt?
Krista, the racetrack that Hall of Famer Les Richter built from the NFL, always challenging with the seams, but also the temperature. So do you fire off early with your lap, or do you wait and let it cycle through?
Yeah, we're going to wait a little while. I think most of us will. certainly, you know, when the track's the coolest, it's going to be the fastest. But you don't want to wait too long because you don't know what groove is really going to, you know, be the lane to be. And if you need a second shot at it because you've chosen the wrong line, you better make sure you leave enough time to keep those tyres and engines cool.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Matt. Now, the track will get cooler as we go into the evening. However, if you make your run early, you would have maximum time for that cool down unit to do its job before you either have to go out again to better your time or between your run and the second round.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Greg Biffle was talking about. Yeah, you would love to wait into this session to get a little bit of shadow, maybe let the track cool down a little bit, but that means you're going to have a lot more heat in your tires for that second session because it's only a 5-minute break between the two sessions.
Right, and the first job you got to do is get in the top 24. So the track in 30 minutes is not going to cool very much. It's the next session that might make the difference of whether you make the final or not.
And no clouds on the horizon from the west. Matt?
And when you're looking at fast speeds, you always have to look at Ryan Newman as a benchmark. So is this your type of place to knock down that 50-second pole?
Well, it wasn't in practice, but that doesn't mean we haven't fixed it here for qualifying. Our Caterpillar Chevrolet was hitting the racetrack. I think we tickled China at one point today, but you know, in the end, we've got it better. I think we were 21st, and we're a better car than that. I'm sure of that. We'll just have to see how this qualifying sessions go.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Dug a hole all the way to China with his car. Wow. And we've heard of a lot of drivers having fun in Southern California this week. Several of NASCAR's younger drivers visited the former set of Friends, met up with Ashton Kutcher on the set of 2.5 Men. Some, like Joey Logano. Joey Logano was one who toured Jay Leno's garage this week. So a lot of fun in the sun after a rainy Bristol. Krista.
Kyle Larson getting ready to make his qualifying run. So obviously coming off Bristol last week, do you walk into here with a little bit more confidence?
Yeah, definitely. I do. I do have more confidence now. Practice, first practice didn't go that well, but we made our Target Chevy better and better, as we went. So not really sure what to expect here. It's gotten hotter since we were out earlier, so don't have much experience here at all. Just one race, so try and learn what we can here in this qualifying run. Hopefully we make it to the next round and get a good starting spot for today.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks, Krista. They are backing out of their pit stalls and rolling out onto the racetrack. The clock has started for the first of 3 rounds of knockout qualifying.
Now, they still have the qualifying draw, and it's for how you go through inspection, but as much as anything, it's how you line up on pit road. Looks like to me, Jeff Gordon, that 24 car, got a good draw, and he left pit road and was getting it.
Well, yes and no, Larry. I noticed that you look at all the guys, they're saving their tires. They're not leaving pit road like they stole them. They're kind of waiting until they get up on the back straightaway, just one last turn to put on these precious tires for this qualifying run.
But Darrell, you know this as much as anyone. You want to make sure you're at full song when you get around here to start your lap. You don't want to be down on speed.
I totally agree, but I think some of the guys are just thinking about, man, don't want to use up my tires any more than I have to. Because that's really going to be who can manage these tires during this session. That's going to be the guy.
25-minute session. Run as many or as few laps as you want. Everybody makes the show, so it's who goes on to round 2, and that'll be the top 24 speeds.
Well, Jeff Gordon has 2 poles and 3 wins here. He knows how to get it done. Let's see what he can do on this first lap.
And one of those wins was the first time here in 1997.
38.42. Brian Vickers right behind him, 38.73. Next comes A.J. Allmendinger at 38.86. As you watch Brian Vickers, Tony Stewart comes across 3rd quickest. And now Kevin Harvick to the top of the chart, 38.30.
Now, with the time of day, I think that 30 and that 42 is safe to be in the top 24.
I don't think there's any question about it. That's a long way off of that 38.13 or 15, whatever it was that Jimmy Johnson ran. 38.16 actually.
Clint Boyer
third.
third. Excuse me, Darrell. Clint Boyer third. Danica Patrick now seventh. Casey Kane eighth.
You heard that. I don't know if it's Gustin or who it was tell Jeff, save the tires. And I'm telling you, that out lap and that slowing down and coming back in lap, they don't want to put any more abuse on the tires than they have to.
Brad Keselowski. Looks like he'll be the first Ford to put up a time in this session. Right now it's 2 Chevys, then 2 Toyotas. And Keselowski goes on the clock.
Jeff Gordon ran a pretty high line, saw him up next to the wall quite a bit. Here's Brad Keselowski. He's running a little bit lower conventional line. Looks like he got off of turn 2 really nice. Car was under him good, no stepping out or anything. And she's flying down that back straightaway.
Now, Darrell and Mike, when you look at our top 4 right now, Harvick, Gordon, Boyer, and Vickers, the only one of those 4 that's run faster in this session than they did in practice is Kevin Harvick in that 4 car.
See what Brad's got here. Come to the line and see what he put down.
7th out of 9, 38.91.
And he ran a 38.50. I think this track has lost some grip since we had that practice.
Oh, I don't think any question about it, Larry. The first time out, you're always going to be faster. The track's free and the cars run fast. It's about what I expected.
Martin Truex now 5th. Matt Kenseth 2nd fastest to Kevin Harvick. Matt Kenseth now 2nd fastest after a lap of 38.41. That's 11 100ths away from the fast lap by Kevin Harvick. Joe Nemechek 13th, David Gilliland 12th among the drivers who've just gone out. And there's Kyle Busch.
Just put that in perspective. The first time we came here back in 1997, I know it's been a while, but the guys were at 39.34, 183 miles an hour. So track is about a second quicker than it was back then.
There you see Kyle Busch. He was doing what Darrell was pointing out that a lot of drivers have been doing, just kind of waiting to the middle of the back straightaway before they really get on it.
Yeah, you can do that here, Larry. You got so much turn. This 3 and 4, 1 and 2 both are just huge sweepers, so you can really get your speed up without too much trouble.
You know, guys, looking at Kyle Busch in that 18 car, led 73 laps at Bristol. At 28 years old, he's 67 laps shy of leading 10,000 laps in the Sprint Cup Series.
Yeah, he needed to lead 140 over there at Bristol, and he'd done it a number of times. Didn't quite do it this time, but he's right on the verge of that 10,000 laps.
Now, he is the track record holder set back in 2005, and that was his first career pole position in Sprint Cup racing.
Whoa, moved around a little bit on him there. You can see the car bobbling with him a little bit.
Cole Witt comes across 13th out of 14, and here's Kyle.
He didn't get out of the gas.
10th, 39.01. Ryan Newman, Justin Allgaier comes across 14th out of 16.
And Darrell, one other thing, I think just what I learned in the garage area this morning as Ryan Newman is 9th quickest right now, that if you felt like you've got a lot of speed and you can get in the top 24, you may not just get overly aggressive with tape on the nose for this session right here.
Yeah, I'd say that's a fair assessment, Larry. I think all these guys with pretty fast cars, they're not thinking so much about this session as they are the next session, and certainly then to try to make it into the final group. That's really your ultimate goal.
6 minutes into this session, and 17 drivers have put up a time.
That's about as much tape as you can put on that grill.
That's pretty solid. Now, of course, Jeff Gordon right now still 3rd quickest. You can see they have the cool-down machine hooked up to it through the cow flaps, but they'll just sit tight and watch this session unfold.
See, it's the best of both worlds, really, Mike. You cool the motor back down to a temperature where it will perform at its best, but everything else is warm. The gear, the hubs, the transmission, those parts and pieces are warmed up now, so you have no drag or friction in a drivetrain.
Yeah, you'd like to have engine and tires cool, everything else warm.
Yeah, that's it. Unfortunately, your tires are also warm. Denny Hamlin, 4 front row starts here in the last 6 races, including 3 poles. Now, you cannot set the pole in this session. All you can do is advance to round 2. You can, however, set a track record as Hamlin comes across 8th, 38.82.
You know, we've talked so much about the races, and rightly so. 4 races, 4 different winners. We've also had 4 different pole winners so far in 2014.
I think the strategy here, because the tire fall off, track's so big, I think it's just a little bit different. I don't think we're going to see the track record that we've seen the last couple of weeks. This 38.30, that's a pretty nice time right now.
Jamie McMurray 14th, Ricky Stenhouse 12th, completing their runs. So now 20 drivers have posted a time.
I forget what race it was. It's been 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. I guess we were here when Kevin Harvick chased down Jimmy Johnson. And remember, he put the little bump and run on him going into 3 over there, and Harvick won the race. I know Jimmy Johnson remembers.
Well, he came right back and didn't he do the same at Atlanta?
I think he did.
Or was that was he and Carl, was it not? I don't think it was he and Kevin. But here's Joey Logano. Yeah, 2011.
Harvick, a couple years ago,
led 1 lap of the race.
Joey Logano jumped up to 2nd. He becomes the only Ford driver in the top 10 right now with this 22 car.
Well, remember, Larry, and I know people do, but Logano and Hamlin were racing for the win here. They had the best 2 cars at the end of the race here last year. So it's no surprise that Logano is 2nd, Hamlin's 9th right now. Not a big surprise.
Here's Jimmy Johnson, one of only 3 to make the final round in qualifying for all 3 races this season. Joey Logano and his teammate Brad Keselowski in that group.
Jimmy was the quickest in that practice earlier, to Darrell's point, a 38.16.
Larry, I saw him. Jeff Gordon did the same thing. He ran a little bit higher on the racetrack. Didn't try to dive it down on the bottom and run the apron like we saw Brad Keselowski do. Let's see how that works for him.
2nd, 38.30 with a 6. Harvick has a 38.30 with a 3. They are the fastest so far. 25 drivers have now had a chance at the clock. Kurt Busch is the next. He is 8th fastest. Kyle Larson comes across 12th out of 26 now, with Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson fastest.
Look at that, 38.30 with a 3 and a 38.30 with a 6. That's the difference in the 1st and 2nd right now, and then a 38.36 with a 1. And then you got a 41 with an 8 and a 42 with a 6. That's your top 5.
Casey Mears in the Geico Chevy.
Somewhat of a home game for Casey from nearby Bakersfield, California. As we pointed out earlier, 8 or 9 drivers from this area.
Now he is 23rd. 24 will advance. He has about 4 tenths in the bank. Josh Wise just bumped out of the top 24. Cole Witt right now has the final transfer spot. And as we look at Austin Dillon,
we're closing in on the halfway mark of this session. Boy, Austin Dillon had his hands full with that 3 car off of turn 2. And a couple of notable drivers that all they worked on in practice was qualifying. They're still kind of waiting this out. Would be Tony Stewart in the 14 and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88.
Yeah, and both pretty quick in practice, so they got a shot for sure. They're just waiting for the track to cool a little bit, if it will.
Actually, Stewart has been on track. He is 10th fastest.
Okay. He did just run just a little bit ago.
There's Dillon.
Got it off early right there.
17th for the rookie out of now 29 drivers, and that bumps Cole Witt and moves Casey Mears to the final transfer spot.
Hey, you come up off turn 2 here, and buddy, that thing hits those seams, and when it does, it just steps that back end right out. He did a nice job of not overcorrecting the car and stayed after it. So pretty nice job of saving that thing.
Those gloves were not lying in that race car, were they?
Greg Biffle in the 3M Ford.
If you got your car set up where it's really what we call riding on the right rear, then that's when the seams are more sensitive than if you got the car a little more neutral.
This will be Greg's first time. Casey Mears right now is on the edge there with a 39.32.
Greg Biffle was on the edge with that 16 car. Looked like off turn 4. Looked like Austin Dillon did off turn 2.
But it's enough for now. 20th for Biffle. And that moves Justin Allgaier onto the edge in 24th. Now this is Matt Crafton Paul Menard and his wife Jen had their baby daughter this week, so Matt Crafton is here in the 27 for practice and qualifying. Matt?
Mike catching up with Martin Truex Jr. He's currently 7th now. Brad Keselowski said he was really free. Jeff Gordon said the same thing on exit. How was your race car on your fast lap?
I'd say it's the same. Free on exit. Trying to work on that for the next session. So you try to, you got to run a fast lap because you don't want to miss the mark, but you don't want to overdo it either and burn your tires up. So it's a fine line there. We were definitely too free off, and hopefully we'll be able to get it better, but a cycle on the tires here is going to be pretty crazy. So that second and third run, it's going to be interesting to see what everybody's doing and how much it actually slows down.
Thanks, Matt. Now, Matt Crafton did not make the cutoff. He is 26th right now, so Justin Allgaier is still on the edge. Here's rookie Alex Bowman.
I think it's fair to say, Larry, that we'll probably see the fastest times of qualifying in this set.
Yeah.
And Bowman is 31st in the Dr. Pepper Toyota.
And that's some of the drivers that we may see go out there and make a second run late in this session, guys. It's not in the top 24. What do you truly have to lose?
Marcus Ambrose, his first run's a good one. He is 11th, and that will knock out Justin Allgaier and moves David Gilliland onto the edge of the table.
Here comes Dale Jr. We'll see what he's got. He was pretty quick in practice.
Yeah, he ran a 38.35. He was 4th quickest, 2nd quickest for a long time.
Whoa, that's not 26 quick right there. I don't know what happened. 39.21.
That is 9/10 of a second off Kevin Harvick's fast time. Jill Arrington of the Fox Sports 1 News Desk. Welcome back to Fast Friday, presented by Aleve, NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying. And coming off his best career finish Sunday night at Bristol, Eric Almirola in the Richard Petty 43. And if you're a longtime Richard Petty fan, wait till you see the way this car will be dressed up next week in Martinsville.
Yeah, that's what did he end up there, Larry?
He's actually
22nd or
18th.
Yeah. There you go.
David Rudiman in the MDS Ford, the number 35. Rudy missed the show last week at Bristol by 1/1000th of a second, but he remains an advocate of this knockout qualifying format. Whoa, big slide there in turn 2.
He might like the format, but he doesn't like the way that felt. I know. A lot better down here in 3 and 4 because I think he might have adjusted his.
That wasn't very good there, guys.
He ends up 30th right now out of the 38 drivers that's been out there.
But Rudiman is in the show because even though there were 45 cars entered, 2 withdrew, so there are 43 here. Auto Club 400 this Sunday. It's a great fan experience. A lot of multicultural events going on behind the grandstand and great racing going on this speedway. Here's where you can get tickets. And don't forget, you don't need to fight the traffic at the racetrack. You can take the Metrolink train to the track. $19 round trip, and that may just be the best deal in all of NASCAR. Carl Edwards out. 38 of 43 drivers have taken time so far.
See what he's got. Danica slipping down here. She's 23rd right now. Casey Kane is 24th.
Yep, he's on the edge at a 39.13, and Carl Edwards bumps him by 6/100ths of a second, and that puts Edwards on the edge of making it to the next round.
I think a couple of guys are going to have to go back out and see if they can do anything. Kane being one of them and maybe Dale Jr. being the other. Those 2 guys outside the top 24 right now.
Yeah, the Ford drivers are, other than Logano, who's 3rd, and Ambrose, who's 11th, they're all kind of clunked together, 16th through 24th.
Yes, Travis Kvapil in the SK Tool Ford. And there is Greg Biffle, Danica Patrick, Carl Edwards on the edge. Casey Kane 1 spot away from advancing. Kvapil will be the 40th driver to take time, and he is 33rd out of 40. Matt?
Mike, you documented that Dale Earnhardt Jr. at this point is out of knockout qualifying. They've got the cool down machine on the 88 car, trying to cool it down to go out and take one more attempt. Now, Junior said that the car was just too tight in the corners and he couldn't navigate his car across the seams like DW mentioned, which is such a challenge here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, if it's too tight, it slides the nose. If it's too loose, the back end steps out. That's that balancing act you're looking for.
But as you pointed out, you're in the show. If you're outside the top 24, what do you have to lose? Roll the dice and let's go again.
Amen.
Here's a closer look at today's qualifying with sprint. Jimmy Johnson is the only driver to win the pole in the race in the same weekend. He did it in fall 2008. Switch now to the new Sprint Family plan, where up to 10 friends and family can get unlimited talk, text, and a gig of data for as little as $25 a month each on the Sprint network. Visit sprint.com/speed or your Sprint store. There is Jimmy, who right now, if he and Kevin Harvick had qualified side by side, the distance between them would be about 10 inches from one front bumper back to the other. That's 3/1000ths of a second. Casey Kane going back out for a second run, as is David Gilliland. There are still 3 drivers who have not yet posted a time, and they are Landon Castle, backup car, Parker Kligerman, and Michael Annett.
You watch these guys, there's several of them I've seen do this, Larry. You see Casey Kane, he's easing out onto the racetrack. He's down on the apron. He's not he's not abusing his tires or using his tires at this point. And that's really what this session is all about, tire management. When he finally gets to the back straightaway where he's going straight, he will gas it up and go, see if he improved on his time any. He's
just now completing this
yeah.
lap. He's just completing this lap.
And he's a little...
he moved up.
He got in.
Up. He's 24.
For now.
Wow.
Yeah,
39.06.
He just knocked Danica out. He's 24th.
But now he's on the edge. He has no cushion. He is on the edge of falling out of the top 24.
Yeah, that's a 39.062 for Kane and a 39.067 for Danica, and Danica's out.
Krista?
Well, some of these drivers try to work their way into the next round. The drivers who are solidly in with that cushion are working on adjustability, talking about what they're going to do when this session ends, like Kurt Busch. His crew talking about making some adjustments to help him with tight off, air pressure track bar to help with the tight off condition, trying to get a little more drive off the corners.
And as soon as Danica got knocked out, you see she's going to go out and make another run here. Based on what Kane did, maybe there's a little bit left in that car.
And we say knocked out, not knocked out of the race.
No, not
Everybody's
out of the race.
in the race,
right?
But knocked out of the top 24 who will advance.
Yeah, I guess it does sound like we're saying they're knocked out. No, they're not knocked out of the race. They're just not going to. They're not going to move on.
And their positions will lock in at the end of this session. Danica Patrick right now 25th. Carl Edwards 26th. David Gilliland, Justin Allgaier, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I believe
and others.
It's a really good time. I think it's a really good time to be going out. We've only got about 3 minutes left in the session. The track's got to be a little better than it was.
Hey, here comes Casey Mears. That turned green, and that means he will advance if he hangs on. And oh gosh,
it was green up at that point.
Couldn't do it.
But that second effort by Casey Kane picking up those 7/100s, it dumped him into the top 24.
I just saw, I'm watching Danica now. She's on a run here trying to get back in, and boy, she is rim riding. Somebody, I think she observed that some of these guys have been running. Jimmy Johnson ran up high like that and made a pretty good lap. Doesn't look like it's going to work out.
Hit the wall on the exit of 2.
Yeah, she about hit the wall coming off 2 over there. Got up too high.
No, 39.46 is slower.
Yeah.
Now, Casey Mears' lap was the fastest lap he's run in this session. It was his 3rd lap, and it was his quickest, just not enough to advance.
Now let's see if Dale Jr. made the right adjustments and if he can pick up anything.
Daryl, these drivers running a little bit higher like Jimmy Johnson, obviously he didn't back up what he ran in practice. Do you think maybe that route's a little easier on the tires and maybe even though you're running a longer distance?
You nailed it, Larry. I think that's one of the reasons you would do that. Don't put the car down in there.
All right, that's P17.
He did it. He got in.
Yep, that's Steve Letarte Jr. jumped up to a 38.94. And that is 17th.
Yeah,
and
these are the same tires now that he went out on the first time. He can't change tires, so they have to make whatever adjustments they can make in the pit there and then send him back out. That was a nice pickup.
That's he and Casey Kane both, even though Casey Kane got bumped back out of the top 24, they both, by making that second run, went up in the top 24.
Now that will push Greg Biffle onto the edge at a 39.04. Ryan Truex from 42nd. I think the only driver who has not posted a time is Michael. No, Michael Annette's in there. We're missing one.
Well, it's probably Landon Castle, who actually crashed in practice.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like they're going to make it out there. As you can see, we're down to about a minute left in this first round.
Yeah, the guy that's out there now, Carl Edwards, who is 27th out of the top 24 right now, he's on another run. And Larry, he moved up the racetrack. We'll see if they helped him or not.
Ryan Truex runs faster but does not advance. Truex up to 39th. And here's David Rudiman, who right now is 33rd. Carl jumped up there to 11th.
That's a huge pickup.
And knocks out his teammate, Greg Biffle.
Well, I was going to say, Dale Earnhardt Jr. knocked his teammate, Casey Kane, out of the top 24, and now Carl Edwards has done the same thing to his, Greg Biffle.
But what I saw Carl run the first time. He ran a little bit lower on the racetrack. That time he ran a high, very high line and picked up a lot of speed.
So that pushes Biffle off the edge of the paper and moves Jamie McMurray to the 24th and final transfer spot. 16 seconds to go. If you're not on the track now, you're not going to get that lap in.
And it's like Jamie McMurray in the one was sitting down there kind of doing a wait and see, but it's a little bit too late. But look right now, Greg Biffle, compared to McMurray, you can see him in the green.
Yeah, he's pedaling hard, and he's running that high line. These guys are really, well, now he's going to the bottom. He's high 1 and 2. He's going to use the bottom in 3 and 4. We'll see how that works out.
He gained a lot of speed getting down in through the middle of turn 3 and 4. This is going to be a great lap for Greg.
Yeah, he liked that high line 1 and 2, and then he liked the lower line in 3 and 4, and it's really picked up some speed.
17th for the Biff. He's back in with a 38.89, and that knocks out Jamie McMurray,
who's sitting at the exit of pit road in his one car.
He'll be sitting there later, too.
So the top 24 advance to round 2 of this 3-round knockout qualifying. Welcome back to Auto Club Speedway. All eyes on the scoreboard, where the top 24 drivers advance to round 2 of this 3-round super speedway knockout qualifying format. There are the car numbers that will advance, and yes, that's a 43 position scoring pylon. So all the way down to Kyle Busch in the number 18 in 24th spot. Nice job by Michael Annette to move on. Austin Dillon and Kyle Busch. Now from there on back, Jamie McMurray and the rest of these drivers, they have earned their starting spots for Sunday's race. Matt?
Mike Dale Earnhardt Jr. bumped his way back into the next round. He was 19th fastest. So a big difference running the bottom versus the top in your 2 attempts, Dale?
Yeah, when we ran the bottom the first attempt, we got the right front got hooked on the seam and we couldn't get to the bottom. So it just ruined the lap. It happens to me about every time, but every time I try to run the bottom. But we running the top, definitely picked our car up a little bit. We've ran an extra run on our tires compared to a lot of guys, so I don't know how that's going to play out, but we're committed to the top, I guess, the rest of this qualifying session, see what we can make up there.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
And, Mike, they're going to let this car sit and cool down much of this next session and then make their run right near the end.
Yeah, well, you look, Mike, everybody ran 1 lap except down to Carl Edwards. He ran 3, and then Biffle ran 3, and Dale Jr. ran 3. So they've got a 2-lap deficit compared to everybody else.
Right, those 3 drivers have that extra run on their tires, and because they ran late in the session, we'll see how much they get cooled down before round 2. Carl Edwards made a second run. He is 11th. Greg Biffle, who is 17th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. 19th, each made 2 runs.
But the bottom line, if those 3 drivers didn't make that second run, they'd be pushing to the garage area right now.
You're right, Larry. I wonder, though, if this really will diminish their chances to move on to the final round.
Doesn't help the cause, that's for sure.
They're wondering that too, Mike.
All right. Well, we'll find out when we come back to Fontana. Ready for round 2. And of these 24 drivers, do they all have a good chance to advance, or did the 3 who made 2 rounds, will they be left by the wayside? Let's find out.
Jeff Gordon, same strategy. Get out there and get this lap in early in that 24 car.
But look, Larry, everybody eases out of the pits, and they're taking it real easy. Do not make your tires mad. If you make your tires mad, they won't work for you.
This is only a 10-minute session.
So 24 cars on track. Again, quickly, drivers who did not advance. Jamie McMurray, Casey Kane, Danica Patrick, Allgaier, Gilliland, and Crafton. Mears, Kligerman, Rudeman, Witt, Quapple, Sorensen, Scott, Wise, Truex, Bowman, Reagan, Nemechek, and Castle did not advance to this second round.
Well, I think we figured out what the high line is the way to go. I don't think we'll see anybody trying to dive the bottom, run the apron like we have seen. Looks like they think of up next to the wall is pretty fast.
Let's see what Jeff Gordon in the 24 does. It turns 3 and 4. He was all the way up against the wall in 1 and 2. He's a little bit down the racetrack in 3 and 4.
But Larry, just think about this. The sun is beaming on turns 1 and 2. As it sets. Right now, 3 and 4 is starting to pick up a little bit of shade, so maybe there is some, maybe there is some options in 3 and 4.
38.39 for Gordon, followed by a 39.05 for Brian Vickers. Matt Kenseth now second, 38.42. Here's Denny Hamlin across, 38.85 third.
I tell you, 38.39 is pretty sporty. What's going on with Kenseth here? He's
well, you can see at the base of the windshield on the right side, a little bit of water coming out there, so they got it just a little bit warm.
Kevin Harvick now third. Tony Stewart fourth, dumped to fifth by Clint Boyer, who goes to the third spot.
Larry, I'm impressed with 38.39.
I am too.
Right there with what they ran in the first session for Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, I think they can sit tight and wait on round 3, quite honestly.
3 Chevys, 2 Toyotas in the top 5 right now.
Big drop off for most everybody from the first session except Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, because Kevin Harvick basically lost 4 tenths from a 38.30 to a 38.70 on his run in his 4 car.
So 9 drivers have posted a time in the first 2.5 minutes here. You're on board Ricky Stenhouse coming to the green flag. Of course, there is no flag because the flag appears at the start of the session, not every time a car passes under it, as in single car qualifying.
That old engine's getting a workout, isn't it?
Man, that's got to be right up there around 10 grand. Ooh, he had to get out of the gas. Had to get out of it. That's going to hurt him. Thing pushed off the corner a little bit, and he had to get out of it and keep it out of the wall.
Now he's going to go all the way to the bottom of the racetrack with his 17 car.
I think, Larry, just the difference in the sun right now. The sun's bright on turns 1 and 2. Got a lot of heat in 1 and 2, running high. Got a little shade, a little cooler in 3 and 4. Might be able to dip that thing down on that apron, getting in there and make a little better time. Kind of depends on how your car's handling.
That slide cost him. Stenhouse is 10th of 10. Now pushed down to 11th by Martin Truex Jr., who is 6th. Now, notably, the 3 drivers that made 2 runs in the first group, Edwards, Biffle, and Earnhardt, have not been on the track yet. Here's Kyle Larson, third. Nice run, 38.55.
Good job.
Yeah, we've had 12 drivers log in a time, and now we have 13. You're definitely going to have to run in the 38s. If you're outside the 38-second bracket, you're not going to get in the top 12.
Ryan Newman, 10th with a 38.87.
This is about the fall off we saw in practice. Every time you go out, you lose 3 or 4 tenths.
There's Brad Keselowski compared to A.J. Allmendinger, who's right on the edge of advancing to the final round. There's that time coming down and into the green. Means Keselowski is on pace to make it into the top 12 and advance. And that number keeps coming down.
Look at that splitter, man. That thing was sparking going down into turn 3 over there. Really, really bumpy down the back and into 3.
And remember, Brad Keselowski, since we left Daytona, he has not qualified off the front row. 3 consecutive front row starts.
Don't think he's going to start today either. Not right now.
7th, 38.72. Nice run for the Worth Ford. So 14 drivers have been on the clock. Here's Austin Dillon. 5 minutes left in the session. Brian Vickers on the edge right now at 39.05.
Yeah, we're a little more than halfway through round 2, and about half those 24 drivers have logged a lap in this session.
I still think the smart guys are really playing the odds that they're going to make the next cut and saving a little bit of something for the final shootout.
Austin Dillon 14th. Here is Eric Almirola. Now that number was coming down, stays even, and starts to go the other way. And Almirola is 15th at a 39.14. Here's Jimmy Johnson.
Johnson goes to 4th in that 48 car, 38.61. And with this session only being 10 minutes and making your run now, even if you don't crack the top 12, it's going to be tough to get back in there and get cooled down. Get cooled down where you need to be and get back out there to make a second run.
I agree, Larry.
Ryan Newman is 12th. 17 drivers of the 24 have taken time. Here is Joey Logano.
Look at the nose of that car. I mean, it is right on the track.
And those numbers are going the right way for Logano. Now a little give up. Backing up here. Yep. Backing up.
Losing time. Losing time.
That's coming back the right direction.
Yeah. now he's getting that. Now he's getting that run off turn 4 with that high line.
6th for Logano, 38.64.
You could see when Joey dipped down on that apron because that car is so low, that splitter really bottomed out.
So here's Kurt Busch, and when he completes his run, there will be 4 drivers left to post a time. And the Outlaws 14th, 38.88, 3/100ths away from a transfer spot.
Now Carl's back out. He's just now in turns 1 and 2. We see him here, and of course he had a couple extra laps on his tires, but I think he's really up there against that wall, and he's rim riding and making pretty good time.
He's the first of those 3 drivers to take to the track that made a second run in round 1.
Yeah, Greg Biffle, Dale Earnhardt Jr., they're going to probably wait it out as long as they can, trying to let those tires cool down from that second run in round 1. Carl's using every bit of racetrack that's up there and then some.
And he is going to bounce Kyle Busch. Carl is 6th, and that pushes Denny Hamlin onto the edge at 38.85. Junior, not enough. 38.85 with an 8. Hamlin is 38.851, 7/1000ths away. Sits Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Kyle Busch in between. Boy. Marcus Ambrose 11th. He's in. Hamlin's out.
I think if you're watching our qualifying, if you're a driver and you're watching this, the high line, but then dropping down on this apron, and I mean dropping down on it early, seems to be really saving these guys a little bit of time.
Here's A.J. Allmendinger. 2 minutes to go. Martin Truex Jr. is in the bump spot. Now Greg Biffle and Michael Annett have not made their runs as yet. Everybody else has been on the clock.
I can't say enough about that run that Carl Edwards, though, just made in that 99 car. To have 2 more laps on his tires, he's cracked not only the top 12, but he's cracked the top 6. I think he's safe to move on to the next round.
Yeah, I really, the thing that impressed me was Jeff Gordon's lap. We'll see where he ends up in the final shootout here, but boy, that was a great lap that Gordon laid down.
Second try for Allmendinger, but he is 18th. The nice surprise of round 1, Michael Annett in the Pilot Travel Center Chevrolet of Tommy Baldwin.
Kevin Bono Mannion, the crew chief on this little hot rod.
Yeah, right now he's tracking about 3 to 3.5 tenths off of Martin Truex Jr. in that 78 car for the 12th spot.
And he'll be 22nd with a 39.23. That leaves only Greg Biffle, but Biffle has aborted his run. Only Biffle as far as drivers who have yet to post a time, and he's not going to this time.
Well, that tells me that something, the car got real sideways, had to get out of the gas. He lost his momentum. He knew it wouldn't be worth it, so he just brought it back in one piece.
Under 30 seconds to cross the line and begin your final qualifying lap. A couple of drivers are trying to do just that as Ryan Newman comes around. Newman trying to move up from 16th. Kyle Busch is out there as well.
It's going to be borderline for those couple of those drivers coming off 4 right now.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. They all made it under the clock.
Austin Dillon just made it in that 3 car.
Ryan Newman, 16th.
Smoke. Did he get it in the fence, Larry? Is that where that smoke's coming from, or is he up? No, it's steam out
well,
the right
he's
side.
running very warm.
He had everything going on. He had the stay dry flying. He had steam coming out from the hood, and he was rubbing the wall. I don't think he could do much more.
And he's 14th. Brian Vickers comes across, 19th for Vickers. And the last one will be Ricky Stenhouse and Austin Dillon, 2 of the top rookies. Stenhouse jumps up 1 spot to 22nd, and Dillon holds at 20th. So the final 12 is set. The drivers who do not advance: Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, A.J. Allmendinger. Here are the drivers on screen who will advance to the final round.
Well, I know there's nothing worse than these knockout qualifying sessions and just sort of watching yourself fall on the outside looking in. Did you get everything you could out of your race car? Or if you had the lap to do over, what could you have done differently?
The adjustments, we'd have to adjust a little bit more for the second run. We did it in practice, and really there wasn't a huge balance change between sticker and scuff run, but out here in the real world and in real qualifying, our car went just way too tight, and really there was no sense in us going out there trying to make another run. As we saw with our teammate, he's half a second slower, so you're really just putting your engine at risk and everything else if you try to make another run that short of a time period. So just not quite enough. I tried to conserve tires on my first run and not slip them to have a good second run, but we just missed the balance a little bit.
Thanks, Denny.
You know, Larry, that's a good point. Now that they have the cool down machines on pit road between runs, every time you go out on that track, that's another heat cycle on that engine, and that engine has to last you 400 miles on Sunday.
And as we heard when we were riding with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., even though it's only a 400-miler, that little old thing is laboring.
That's what they're doing, Larry. You hit the nail on the head. They're laboring when they go down through here. Old tongue is coming out the exhaust pipe and hitting you on the shoulder and say, hey, back off a little bit.
Now remember that graphic earlier about the drivers who have made the final round in every race where we've had knockout qualifying, which is every race except Daytona, and those 3 drivers are again in the final round here at Auto Club Speedway. When we come back, we'll find out who wins the pole for Sunday's Auto Club 400. Here are the 12 finalists. It's not American Idol. It's knockout qualifying. It's on the same network. And Carl Edwards is the only one among them who had 2 tries at the track back in round 1, and yet he advanced.
And we did find out what happened to his teammate Greg Biffle. It wasn't anything mechanically. He just slid the nose so bad he just aborted the run.
That's what I figured, Larry. I wasn't watching his run, but I figured he got loose sideways. Sometime he had to get out of the gas, and he said no need doing that. So,
anybody surprised that the fastest lap in each round differed by less than 1/10 of a second?
Pretty impressed with that run that Jeff Gordon made there in round 2.
For sure.
Now you see the cooling hoses going in the cowl flap there. NASCAR, when they allowed the team to cool down rigs, they said you are not allowed to lift the hoods, therefore no unapproved adjustments. So those cool down rigs have to be hooked up through the cowl flap so that the hoods are not lifted.
Heck, fire, we could change a lot of things through that big old opening where that cowl is. Oh, I shouldn't say that, Chuck.
It looks like Kevin Harvick in that 4, who was fastest in that first round, he's going to be the first driver to hit pit road. Remember, only 5 minutes for this session here.
So the 99 of Carl Edwards, he has 3 runs on his tires. Everybody else has 2 as the clock is running in this 5-minute session.
Okay, so who's going to get the pole, guys? Who are you picking? What do you think?
I like either this guy we're looking at right now, Kevin Harvick, or Jimmy Johnson in that 48, one of the 2.
going to be hard to bet against Jimmy Johnson, but I know Jeff Gordon's put up a nice lap there this last run, but the faster you go, the harder it is on your tires.
And Darrell, you've been talking about it. Just saw Kevin Harvick go through 3 and 4. It has a lot of shade down there now.
It really does. You know what makes this fun? Because I can't tell you how many times in the past years where you always said, man, if I could just go again. If I could just come in and make one little change and go back out, I think I could do so much better. Well, you get the luxury of doing that with this kind of qualifying.
That is one more rough back straightaway. That thing looks like a bucking horse back there.
Looks like a washboard, yeah. Things are hopping up and down.
You can see right there how much shade's down there in that corner.
Well, remember, this track wasn't built on just solid ground. This was a steel mill site. And there's all sorts of stuff underneath there. Not that that should make for an unstable race surface, but a little bumpy there. 38.52 for Harvick. Clint Boyer, 38.61. They're the first two to take time. Here comes Martin Truex. He is third. 38.76, and Kyle Larson, who was third in the first round, is second round, is third now at a 38.75.
Oh, times are really falling off, though. That's a couple of tenths quicker on or slower on Harvick than he was in the last session. That's not a bad time considering, you know, how many laps he got on our tires. 38.52.
And I think it's safe to say all of these drivers, one run and they'll be done. Matt.
Larry, Matt, Kevin Harvick said the car was better this run than the previous, but he felt like he left something down in turns 1 and 2. He doesn't think it's going to be good enough for the pole.
I think it's better, Matt, just because it's kind of cooled down a little bit.
We're halfway through the session. Here's Matt Kenseth. 4 of the 12 drivers have taken time. Here's the Dollar General Toyota on the clock. Seems like they come out in groups because half a straightaway behind Kenseth comes Jimmy Johnson. Ironic that those are the two that battled for the championship last year. Now Kenseth is quicker. Harvick may have had a premonition there.
Yeah, Matt now, he chose the low line in 1 and 2. Let's see what he chooses here in 3 and 4.
He lost ground all the way down the length of the back straightaway, though now going through 3 and 4, it's starting to go back to green.
Well, he didn't get that nice run off the high line of the corner back there, so it hurts your straightaway speed, but it should help you through the turns.
But that low line worked.
Looks pretty good right
there.
Kenseth
goes to the pole. 38.43. Here comes Jimmy Johnson. Will that stay be short-lived? No. Johnson is second, 38.51.
I'm impressed with that 43. That's a couple of hundreds off of our fast time.
Track continues to cool. A minute and a half to go to take the green flag.
You can see Joey Logano a couple of tenths behind Matt Kenseth. He's going to end up fifth.
38.65.
See, what I liked, Kenseth didn't go back out and do what everybody else did. He went out and did what Matt Kenseth wanted to do. And I think he knew there'd be more grip in the track, and he utilized that low line and really made some good time around the track. Here's a guy he's going to have to watch.
And Jeff Gordon, 2 tenths off of Kenseth right this instant. Quarter second. Starting to come down.
Got way tight off at 2.
Time coming down, but not enough. Gordon is fifth at a 38.63.
I just wish, you know, if I had a crew chief and they said, what did Matt do? I'd want to know that he ran a little bit lower in this session than he has been, and it really helped him.
Marcus Ambrose, 7th. And Carl Edwards goes on the clock.
And you can see he is in the green right now, but it flips over to red about halfway through 1 and 2. One of the drivers that has a lot more laps, and he gets way up the racetrack in 1 and 2.
He probably had to get out of the gas earlier. That thing was taking off, but it's coming back.
But the clock coming back halfway down the back straightaway.
I figured he had to get out of the gas coming off at 2 over there because the thing took off. But hey, looking pretty good right there.
Oh, way up there.
Whoa! That's
way up there.
Too much up there.
Well, he gave it his all. And as the session ends, Edwards is 8th at a 38.73. Tony Stewart comes across 9th, 38.75.
Whatever Edwards ends up, it's not from lack of effort.
Brad Keselowski will put the final time on the board. And he's on the front row again.
Wow.
4 consecutive weeks. 4 consecutive weeks.
That was a nice run. Oh, my.
Well, it's been a whopping 4 races since Matt Kenseth won a pole. Homestead last November. It's his 12th pole in his 513th career start. And it's his first here at Auto Club Speedway in 22 races. He's the 16th different driver to win a pole here.
The other thing I like about qualifying like this, it involves everybody. It involves the team. They got to make the right decisions. They got to do things to the car. The driver's got to run the right line. I just like the way this works.
That extra run on Carl Edwards' tires, how much of a factor was it in this?
Oh, it's had to be a big factor, Mike. You know, he's got 2 more laps we know than anybody else.
Carl gave it his all, but it did not pay off. He is ninth. Matt Kenseth, Brad Keselowski, the front row. By roughly 4/100ths of a second, Matt Kenseth has defeated Brad Keselowski for the pole. Kes gets his 4th straight front row start this season, and Krista's with the pole sitter.
Yeah, for the 2nd week in a row, a Joe Gibbs racing car on the pole for our race. And tell me your strategy. How did you do it? You guys were running a little bit of a different line, and there's a lot of pride down here. You guys are excited about this one.
It was kind of unexpected in a way. I guess we just, this knockout qualifying before last weekend was really a struggle. I think we're like 29th at Vegas, and so I haven't been doing a very good job. So we really didn't have much of a strategy. Honestly, all 3 laps I just went as hard as I could. The track was changing. We saw some speed up top, but I just kind of stuck to our strategy. So Jason, this whole Dollar General group did a great job with adjustments. Did a great job with strategy down here, being ready for every round, and feels good to be in a pole.
All right, so you said that you stuck to your game plan. You knew the speed was up top. Was Jason trying to tell you different, saying you need to go high?
No, I told him I wasn't going to change my plan. He started laughing at me, so he knows I'm not very coordinated, especially my first lap up top is always really slow. It takes me a while to get my rhythm up there. So I actually bribed Jason this morning. I told him that I was going to buy him In-N-Out burger, pole burgers tonight. I told him as a joke. I didn't think we were really going to sit in a pole. So glad to get a pole. Hopefully we can have a good run on Sunday.
All right, get the wallet out. Matt Kenseth buying In-N-Out burgers for the team. He's on the pole.
So Matt Kenseth is the star of Press Enterprise Pole Day at Auto Club Speedway. We'll be right back and take you through the lineup. Matt Kenseth has won the pole for Sunday's Auto Club 400, but car number 2 in position number 2 has become a bit of a habit for Brad Keselowski. Matt?
Mike, it certainly has now. Round 1 today in knockout qualifying. The car was too free in turns 1 and 2. And then round 2, you knew an adjustment you wanted to make. But what was the strategy for the final round? Going out late, or is there an adjustment?
Yeah, we just ran so late in our second run that, our tires were so hot we had to wait to the end. I didn't want to wait to the end. I think the track was really fast right out the gate. But, we just couldn't go out there because of our tires. But that's okay. I really didn't expect to be on the front row. Our qualifying runs, we'd been okay, but, not handling the way we wanted to with the Worth Ford Fusion. But Paul Wolf and the team here at Penske, they dialed it in for the last run. And I still didn't think it was very good, but obviously I'm wrong. So, maybe it just takes me 3 shots to figure out what I'm doing. But either way, an awesome effort by the team, and glad to have another front row start.
Anticipating the race on Sunday, judging from what you've seen so far today, what should we expect?
I think you're going to see the same thing you saw here in the spring race. Maybe even a better race, because the cars with the bigger rear spoiler are going to draft a little better, and you're going to get those big runs down the straightaway. And in order to get away from the huge aero push, you got all these different lanes in the corner, so you're going to see us fan out. And I really think it's going to be a tremendous race.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Mike?
He comes in as the Sprint Cup point leader, and he will start from the front row alongside Matt Kenseth. Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, row 2. Clint Boyer is the fastest, our second Toyota. Jeff Gordon, row 3. Joey Logano, Marcus Ambrose.
Yeah, Marcus Ambrose, that's his 3rd top 10 start already in 2014.
I like that. 20 and 2, 48 and 4. You go down there a little bit further, 9 and 99, 22 and 24. Kind of all married up there.
Nice run for Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart. Martin Truex in knockout qualifying last in the third round. And look back through the field at the drivers who made it in from round 2. Back through Greg Biffle, who did not did not complete a run in the second round, and these drivers were knocked out in round 1.
See Matt Crafton in the 27 car there for Paul Menard, row 15. It's our understanding that Paul Menard will be here to race on Sunday.
Pretty good cars back in the field, though. They're the one of McMurray, which spun off turn 4 there in practice. Danica, not too bad a job today.
David Rudiman missed it by 1,000th last week. There he is this week. And then the final 7 spots are set due to provisional points. Landon Castle, rating a backup car, did not make a qualifying attempt. He'll start at the back. Tomorrow, Fox Sports 1 Sprint Cup practice at 12:30. Nationwide Series qualifying. Then NASCAR Live at 3, and we'll have Sprint Cup final practice for you at 3:30 p.m.
I just enjoyed the I like this way of qualifying because, like I said a minute ago, it involves everybody. Everybody gets to have some input. Just the car. Driver adjusts the line. Makes a different run around the track. It's just a lot of fun to watch.
And the strategy's starting to develop week after week here.
We're building the notebook now. We didn't have a notebook when it started, and it's going to be really interesting next Friday afternoon at that little short track, Martinsville, Virginia.
You ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, that's one lane. You know, you got to get a guy out of your way there.
Nice job by Kyle Larson. He'll get a top dozen start here. Jeff Gordon will roll off 6th on Sunday.
And think about Martinsville. I mean, you got one way out of the pit, and it's a narrow pit road. It's going to be exciting to see them back out and try to get out on the track.